Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Gachiakuta, Season 1.
Yep, Gachiakuta, Season 1, Episode 23. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back from our Anime Night in the Dojo, and well, last week we were in Missing Dub Town. No Gachiakuta or Spy Family last week because of, end of the year stuff, dubbing, whatnot. It happens. We should be on track to finish those up here, hopefully, now that they've, looks like they're back to releasing. So we're waiting on dubs for the next season of stuff anyway. Fire Force looked like it got its dub immediately at the same time as the sub, so that's probably full-on immediate simulcast. Have to see about Frieren, Jujutsu Kaisen, and MF Ghost, but since we have at least 2 more weeks of Spy Family to do, and we're waiting on the dub, so we'll probably just, wrap up Gachiakuta here hopefully next week. Be wrapping up Campfire Cooking this week, so there'll be one less thing next week anyway, so we'll just be in full wait mode for the other stuff to just be completely set and going for the year and whatnot, and then by then we'll be where it needs to be. So we're not going to just kind of piecemeal it in oh man, we'll do Fire Force and then start the other thing the week after and then the other thing week after, if that's how it comes out. It's now we're just gonna all start at the same time. So however the dubs release, we'll start them at the same time as whenever the final one releases. Say MF Ghost one releases on the 21st of January or whatever, that's the week we'll start everything, and then we'll just have other random stuff that we can talk about that I have lined up that we have to do, our year in review thing for 2025, and then we need to we're going to be doing the Has-Been season wrap-up thing here in this recording session, so that'll slide into a slot that's open during one of these slower weeks, because last week we only had 2 things and we didn't really have anything else at the time to put in there because of the end of the year stuff and holidays and whatnot. So it was what it was, but Gachikuta's back. Hopefully we can just wrap it up here this week and next week. Last time we had sort of not really kaiju battle and all the stuff that went on with the Watchmen. We had the discussion about that. That was interesting. Have to see what's going on with that in the future, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the space between the sphere and whatnot. We talked about that, so that was cool. What Zodal's planning to do, that kind of thing. So lots of interesting stuff on the table for this series, and once again we'll mention it in the season wrap up next week, assuming that there's a dub next week, which they should be back on it. Is another thing to just constantly remind people of. This is there's a lot of source material for this already, so we should have enough for at least 3 seasons already, so I'm sure they'll be working on season 2 here in short order.
Yeah, with how fast the author's going, I'm sure she'll have made enough for a 4th season by the time we get to the 3rd season.
Yeah, so either way, that being said, it'll be interesting to see how they wrap up the season here. The last 2 episodes probably kind of wind down, just talk about the situation with Zodal and what the cleaners are going to do about it and whatnot, that kind of thing. The Watchmen series, potentially trying to figure out what happened with Amo, that kind of thing. And there was a spoiler that I got, and I'll be interested to see how they work it in. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that and how that comes about, and we'll talk about it when it happens, obviously. But yeah, so either way, people on Patreon will see you on the other side of the edit for the timer reaction, and people on YouTube will see you on the other side for the discussion and review. And if you're looking for the opposite based on where you're watching this, it's on YouTube or Patreon. Click the links, find the stuff, get the content, get more stuff. And especially with the newer stuff on YouTube, copyright and all the stuff on YouTube these days is getting crazy, so I'm not risking anything. I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting a hit for the still images we show during our discussion and review section. So we'll just have to see what happens if that becomes the case. We might just become full-on talking heads with no visuals, which is insane to me. But with all the stuff that YouTube is implementing, I'm still in I can't do anything about the comment thing. Everybody still has to be subbed for at least a day before they can comment, kind of situation. I'm not in control of that, and you would think I would be, but there's no drop down for that for me, obviously. Small amount of subscribers, restarting our channel and everything, but it's just YouTube and just every other platform is just getting too AI heavy. It's that simple. So anyway, all that stuff being said, let's push some buttons and get going here. So, yeah, here goes something. Well, alrighty then, there you guys have it. Mentioned at the end of the reaction there, but pretty standard debriefing episode is what you call this. But hey, we started off the episode with something that I didn't really elaborate on too much during the reaction, but this is something that happens. If you guys haven't watched like random dashcam YouTube compilations or anything like that, there's a lot of people in not just America but other countries that will do what this guy did, where they'll just like run up to like one of my favorite ones was there's this guy in like Japan or something. He ran up to a car that was like parked and just started slamming his head into the windshield and trying to claim that the driver ran into them. And it's just like, hey nerd, dash cam. And it's crap like this is why I think dash cams should be a mandatory feature for any vehicle, just standard. Yeah. Because, and it's not just people like pedestrians doing stuff like this. There are plenty of people that you see it like with a lot of people who drive more expensive vehicles, like say you see a lot of people that drive like Land Rovers or like big time Jeeps or SUVs or just like a newer Chevy or Ford, doesn't matter. I think we all know that newer even like Chevys and Ford trucks are like 80 grand, so obviously very expensive vehicle. And you see people in like older vehicles who will brake check them to the point where they will stop, and then the car in front will just back into them, and everybody will get out with their phones like, look at this person rear-ended us. And it's just like, it's exactly why you need to have a dash cam, man. You got to protect yourself if you drive a lot, especially because you never know when crap like this, or like the people who will brake check you or cut you off, or just like just back into you and then have the whole like your word versus their word for the cops and the insurance and stuff like that. You gotta have the video footage, man. You know what I mean? I think it is very important for crap like this because it happens more often than you'd think. You know what I mean? There are thousands of channels that show off tens of thousands of situations like this, on a monthly basis. So it's pretty crazy. But it is pretty funny that they kind of went with something like this. But this is a very real problem that does happen that people need to be on the lookout for. You know what I mean? So my recommendation to anybody who drives a lot, so if you commute and stuff, get a dash cam. You know what I mean? Just in case. You're going to a new city that you've never been to before, get a dash cam. You know what I mean? Just that kind of thing. You're going on vacation, like say you're from like, I don't know, Ohio or something, and you're from Cleveland or whatever, and you're going to like, I don't know, Idaho or something, and you're on a like big like road trip on Route 66 or something, get a dash cam. You never know, man.
The most like surprising thing about this situation is that this situation is happening in this world where like insurance and shit like that isn't even a thing.
And that's my thing is like, okay, so they're not committing insurance fraud, so they're just, what was he gonna do? Like he was gonna demand money and like, you know what I mean? I'd just be like, no, get out of here. There's four of us and one of you. You better be able to strong arm the people if you're gonna extort them like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was basically just trying to freaking extort and hustle people of like, well, I'm gonna have to go freaking see the doctor, and you're gonna give me money to go do it.
Yeah.
He did not, however, expect to try to scam a car full of givers.
Yeah. So, not gonna work. But again, in our world, far more feasible and makes sense, especially if you don't have, dash cam footage or something like that. You know what I mean? So, it's just one of those things. But bare minimum, like, if you have your phone on your dash or something, just have it, like, prepped to record just in case, because you never know. Because it's gotten pretty ridiculous with stuff like that. So, again, it's kind of like an interesting joke for this, because, again, there's, like, no, like, insurance to fraud or anything like that kind of situation.
There's no insurance and little to no authorities. Basically, the only authorities we know of are the Hell Guards and the cleaners.
Yeah.
People he's trying to scam.
Right. So it's like, you're basically scamming the volunteer police department over here. Or the volunteer park rangers, basically, is what they are, for the most part. Something like that. But
I think they think that they'd be most friggin' like closely resembling would be like firefighters.
Yeah, something like that. Something more like that. But yeah. That's crazy, man. That was not something I was expecting to see in this, but this is like another one of my PSAs, like, don't go to sleep with a concussion situation. Just be wary of people who will do this, and it's not just pedestrians. Like I said, I've seen plenty of videos where somebody will cut somebody off and then brake check them till they stop and then slam it in reverse and, claim that you rear-ended them. You know what I mean? So, just saying, watch yourselves out there. There are a lot of creeps and scammers out there, not just on the internet, but in just traffic. You know what I mean? So, either way, that was pretty hilarious. Just the whole windows down sunglasses thing. It was never explained, and I kind of appreciate that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And were they listening to Avril Lavigne of their world? Because that's what it felt like. I thought I was back in freaking mid 2000s. It was like, what's going on here? Is that what that was? But outside of that, we had the situation with just this. He was all over the place, but he's always going to be just all over the place, like crazy, just very free spirit character that's just all over the place. Like, what was it, Engine who stepped on him?
Yeah, I guess this is just like massive freaking hyperactive extrovert, just always trying to get in everyone's business.
Right. Yeah. Keep in mind, he was getting in everyone's business about their quote-unquote fit, aka their clothing, and it was like, man, I wish I could talk to the creator. Oh, wait, I'm the creator. Be like if you ran into the CEO of Nike and he was like, hey, man, nice Nikes.
Yeah, we still haven't actually seen what his vital instrument is, but clearly it's something to do with his creation process, because he is all about making things.
Yep. So either way, that was fun. Just that whole situation with Rudo's whole bringing flowers to a sick or injured person is obviously it's going to be different on the ground, because again, plant life is very few and far between, obviously, and I don't really see it like he was kind of concerned. It's like, oh, I'm pushing my spherite ideals and culture on people. It's like, I mean, not really in this case. You know what I mean? It's not really that big of a deal. It's not like he's trying to indoctrinate them to the International Church of the Fawns or something.
Yeah, no, imposing your own culture on someone would be the equivalent of, would be more along the lines of if Rudo got hurt and insisting everyone else needed to bring him flowers.
Yeah, it's like, I can't believe you guys didn't bring me flowers. This is bullcrap. You know what I mean? Why aren't you adhering to my cultural norms? This is shit.
Oh yeah, no, but using your own culture's methodologies and stuff like that yourself isn't imposing them on someone else.
Yeah, it's just kind of doing what you would normally do, and that's about it. But this whole Zonka situation was definitely interesting. I do appreciate that they kept all the art that they were talking about that was done by the previous guys, just around as a thing, and there's not just random background nonsense. It's keeping with the theme of what the previous artists and people that came around here that were the artists, not necessarily all the mages or whatever they were called, were doing.
Sorcerers.
The sorcerers, but just they're keeping that same vibe for the background.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to have a close connection with the city that the sorcerers are from, which is the big art city.
Yep.
Which, once again, kind of comes down to the fact that, once again, the author is best friends with that graffiti artist who does all the art for the freaking source material.
Yep. So,
on a final note, though, with the flowers thing, it's the equivalent. It's the difference between walking up to someone and saying Merry Christmas and walking into someone's house and planting a Christmas tree in their living room.
Yeah. So
it's whether or not someone actively celebrates Christmas themselves, just saying Merry Christmas is just, okay, well, you celebrate Christmas and you are just wishing me a happy holiday, and that is just your words for it.
Yeah.
Versus, like I said, just literally showing up in someone's house, dropping a Christmas tree in their living room and saying, we're having Christmas, damn it.
Yeah. It's the difference between being Mr. Garrison from season 1 of South Park and not Mr. Garrison from season 1 of South Park. So, either way, the whole thing that came out with the spell was hilarious. You know, I got to make a SpongeBob reference. You don't get to do that every day, even though you probably could. I mean, SpongeBob's been around forever. But it's just one of those things where it's just like he had the gag arm thing. But we talked a little bit about it at the end of the reaction. There was like based on what he was doing, him having the protection spell really wouldn't have changed much of anything. He would have tanked the hit that broke his ribs, but then he just would have gotten smashed right after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he would have been able to survive the freaking gut stab. He would have been able to survive the gut stab, but he still would have been poisoned and hallucinating. And Jabber still was in basically full form outside of the one broken rib he had.
Yep.
So, like, he still was definitely going to lose, which it still is, you know, Remlin's fault for not giving him the protection. And if it was a different situation, it could have cost him his life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it just happens that in the one situation he was in, the protection spell wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. So, and that's why he wasn't bent out of shape about it. It's like, listen, this was on me, and what you did, yeah, it's, you know, I appreciate the apology, like you said, but it wouldn't have changed anything. So, while it is a learning experience for Remlin to not, like, mess with people, it's just like, hey, man, it's, you still need to, you know, take your job seriously as the sorcerer, you know what I mean? Because it could have cost him his life. That's the point here. But this was the situation where Zonka's own lack of power and punching up in weight class basically was the major problem. Having a one-hit KO protection against a guy who can one-hit KO you pretty much on any of his attacks in rapid succession, while having an attack that poisons in versatility from anything from hallucinations to deadly to paralyzing to whatever it is. Having a one-hit KO protection against a ticking poison doesn't do anything. It could have, like, you know, if it was a deadly poison, it's like, okay, I prevented death. Still poisoned. Next tick, he's dead. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really do anything. So it's still a teaching moment for Remlin and that kind of thing, but obviously, it's the best case scenario to not have the worst case scenario happen.
Yeah, once again, this is still like a thing of like it was Remlin's fault, and Remlin could have caused this situation to be way worse, and that's part of why Remlin is so guilty over it and trying to apologize and stuff. But also, in this given situation, it wouldn't have actually changed anything.
Yeah. So either way, that whole situation was what it was. The little discussion between there was a lot of face in this episode again. Rudo's face was something else though. I mean, that's like Evil Eye face from Dandadan over here. That was something.
Yeah, Rudo still cannot end a smile.
Yeah, he still can't smile. So that's yeah, that's like a wanted poster face right there. So either way, there was a lot of face going on with this, like, you know, with like Zonka being like super excited that like Engine can deliver the thing. Obviously, we still need to get more of their like backstory and like what happened with them after, you know, Zonka came out of his hole and stuff like that. And mentioned it during the reaction a little bit too, was like, you know, Zonka didn't really hit rock bottom. He got humbled and then self-imposed rock bottom on himself. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like it was a thing of like Zonka had built himself up to be this like the biggest hotshot in the school, and like he had his whole ideology of like, yeah, I'm the lowest rank here, like from a social standpoint. Like it prefers everyone else is like nobles' kids or like the 12th generation member of the Hell Guard and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'm just some punk off the street, and yet I'm the top of the class. And he had like himself built up to that. And then Kyo just kind of rolls in and just says, yeah, all this like last like 7-8 years of work of building yourself up you've done, I'm just going to RKO it in a night.
Yeah, pretty much. But once again, didn't really hit rock bottom, just got humbled and then just went into self-imposed exile in the well over there. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back as a character and that kind of thing, because he is still Rudo's mentor, and he is going to have to teach him all that stuff. Coming to that realization that you still have a job to do, nerd. So it will be interesting to see what comes of that, but either way, we got the little fallout with the Raiders here and stuff like that. What's going on with them? What's going to be going on with them? They have another trash beast lined up to do exactly what just happened. So they have the Death Star 2.0 already going. Bundus got his payment, which probably will end up being another fairly versatile, different hand than what we've seen. So his versatility is going to go up a notch.
Like I said, I don't have any real clue what he wants the statue for, but what I will say is the name on the statue is Rudo's dad.
Oh yeah,
Canis Sherbrick is Rudo's dad,
biological dad,
biological father.
Because the other guy was Regto, right?
Yeah, Recto is the guy who raised him.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see what's up with that specific thing. But I was just spitballing at the fact that maybe Bundus takes something like this, that's like a pseudo charged object that means something, and then has a history and can do something with that history and make it a special hand, like the cat fingers or the other stuff.
Yeah, it's probably an item that is charged with anima already to some extent or another, and he's probably got something he wants to do with it. That said, though, we also do know that Bundus has a thing for collecting information.
Yeah.
So he might just be trying to collect information on Rudo's dad, because we know Rudo's dad was apparently some form of big deal scientist or other.
Right. So either way, lots of interesting information going on here at the end. The stuff with the chokers, looking an awful lot like Nagato from Naruto over here in his chair with the Renegon. But
I will confirm as well. This is what I was saying, and that we know of we've heard of something that the 5th Watchmen series item is involved in, which it's that Zodl's speculation that the chokers are created by a Watchmen series item is correct. What it actually does, who has it, and stuff like that, we'll see. But I do know that the 5th Watchmen item is responsible for the creation of the chokers, and that Zodl there was right.
Right. So communication being cut off would be a pretty big blow, because everybody uses these things for the most part. So we'll just have to see what comes of that. So there's definitely a lot of interesting bits here at the end. Again, this is definitely EO, and that is definitely Raider colors. So much for the Hellguard, huh?
Yeah, that definitely looks like Hyo, and she even has the sword that we saw her, that was the last thing we saw of her, was the whole them picking their weapons thing, and she picked that sword, whereas Sanka had picked the staff that would eventually become Lovely Assistant.
Yeah. So either way, lots of interesting stuff going on here. I can't tell if this is supposed to be a rock or a mattress that she landed on. I'm assuming it's something reasonably soft, because it's squished where she went in. So
yeah, it's a pile of something or other.
It's a pile of something, and it's a pile of shit Crunchyroll players. What it is.
Yeah, which we were talking about, we have no confirmation here whether or not she is alive or dead, but she's clearly still has her head, so whatever experience she had witnessing the Watchmen was more metaphysical than something that actually happened to her body.
And she got her freaking vital instrument back. It's right there. So that's
something. I mean, that does hold more implication that she probably survived witnessing the Watchmen, because that was the whole thing of she didn't catch the comb before witnessing the Watchmen.
Yeah.
So she implies she has had some form of still being conscious and aware to grab the comb on her way down.
Yep. So lots of interesting implications. Solid episode for a debrief kind of situation, and they ended up giving the boots to the leader guy. We'll see if he does something with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, still no idea what the fuck Corvus is or what he's up to.
Yep. So, yeah, well, we got one episode to wrap up the season. Hopefully we can get that done next week. If it's not next week, we'll get it done whenever, you know what I mean? But I'm assuming they're back on schedule, you know what I mean? After that end of the week off, end of the year week off kind of situation that usually happens if dubs don't wrap up by like the middle of December. Usually there's a little bit of a break, unless you're the Polynesian Indonesian dubs. Those guys were all over it. They were ready, or that we could have watched it in Freaky Deaky Dutch. The Dutch were on it.
Also, apparently YouTube is listening to us because I've had my music just on autoplay, and as we've been talking here, it's randomly decided to play both the first and second OP to Gachiakuta.
Shocking. Did you guys know your devices listen to you? It's not a secret. Talk about pizza. You'll probably get a Domino's ad. But either way, that being said, yeah, I'm up for whatever the last episode is. It'll probably lead into whatever the next arc is going to be, that kind of situation. Maybe we'll get a cliffhanger, but not every series does cliffhangers at the end of seasons. It could just be just like a reasonable stopping point, like, okay, yeah, we're kind of setting stuff up, and then we'll just be moving on to the next episode like it wasn't like a cliffhanger or something. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, as it stands right now, the main things we really just got set up that might be expounded upon in next episode is Hyo here being probably a member of the Raiders now.
Yep.
We got the glimpse of the chick that everyone is like insisting is the freaking the author's self-insert.
Yeah.
Which I know is supposed to be like she's either the leader or at least one of the big shots of the Hellguard. So we'll probably get some sort of like present day Hellguard shenanigans,
right,
relating to her. And then we got it mentioned, but no actual anything followed up so far about the freaking the information broker.
Yeah.
Which I know the information broker is a very important character. So we'll might get something about him next episode, but he'll probably be saved for the next arc or something.
Indeed. So a lot of intrigue, a lot of interesting stuff going on. Didn't get my spoiler, which now I have to call into question if people were just really messing with just stuff online, which it happens. Obviously, it might have been a troll, but it seemed like something that made sense when I saw it. And I was like, oh, so that happened. Okay. And it's something that we did talk about earlier in the season. I'll say that.
Yeah, like
but if it's
you mentioned it was something that we already talked about when we were talking offline, and I am pretty much 100% sure I know what it is.
I'll be more surprised if it's not a thing. And if it doesn't happen next episode, I still won't bring it up just in case it happens like at the beginning of season 2 or something. You know what I mean? So I'll just be like, well, we didn't get my spoiler, so maybe people thought it was going to happen in the last episode and it didn't, kind of thing. So that's just a heads up for that, just in case. But yeah, it's something that when I saw it, I was like, damn, but we talked about it. So I was like, hey, we were kind of right about that. That's cool. And okay, that makes sense. Now that I think about it, like on the back end of like, is it a troll though? Because it would make sense. You know what I mean? So, but either way, another solid episode. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully we get season 2 probably next year, I assume, something like that. But, you know, either way, that's all I got for this week. So, you got anything else, Age?
I think the only thing that I didn't say that I was going to was I was going to make a joke about freaking Zodal going full Elon and just launching rocket after rocket until he succeeds.
Yeah, I mean, he's going full Michael Scott. Just like, listen, if this paper company fails, I'll just make another one and another one and another one. I have no end of names. And in their case, they probably have a reasonable stockpile of cores. So, you know.
And from what we've seen, basically, just he could take just like pretty much any anima infused object and just turn it into a a freaking trash beast with whatever the coat's power is.
Right.
Which once again seems to be some form of object manipulation / like evolution, something or other.
Right. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond whoever you're watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo. And this was Gachiakuta, Season 1, Episode 23. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the season wrapped up next week. But again, we'll just, if it's not next week, then we'll just do it whenever the dub releases. So, that's just a heads up for anything. So, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.